name a woman in the Bible who is not Eve or Mary? Rachel, Tabitha, nice. JL, awesome. Esther, Ruth, cool. Priscilla. Oh, you guys are pros already. Wow. Okay, well, we have something we're going to show you. There will be a quiz after. Just kidding. And we're going to kind of take you through some of the names of the women in the Bible. And let's do it. You ready? Yes. Ready? Let's do this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tara Brooke Watkins. I am the creator and director of the Bible Women's Project, and I will take that. Thank you. And I am also a Bethelite, so this moment is really lovely. I feel like we've come home tonight. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a little information before we get started. So the Bible Women's Project has been going on for 10 years. And what I've been saying to people is going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival for us is the current yes in my life. I don't know what will happen, but this is where I really feel like we are supposed to go next with this show. Now, that being said, I invited women from various casts that I've had for the last 10 years to join me on this particular journey in this moment. And we've been meeting virtually since September, but the show you're about to see has only been in rehearsal in person since last Thursday. So what we're here to do is to give you a preview performance of what we're going to take to Scotland. And in the world of theater, previews means we're not totally there yet, but we're really close. We're still working things out. We've had 2 preview performances before tonight in Rhode Island, and after each of those shows, something has changed as a result of previewing it. So it's really helpful to have audiences for the cast to get confident, but for also for us to know whether things are working. So you being here tonight is a gift in a multitude of ways. Besides that, I want to say, because it's a preview performance, the cast may still need to call for line here and there, okay? Again, it's been 5 days since we've really been rehearsing as a cast. We will have a stage manager who is on book in case that happens, but just know if that happens, it's because we're still finding the groove, okay? After the show, and the cast will share this during the performance, we stay for a post-show conversation. That is an invitation to you. It is not required, but we have found that this particular show, it's almost necessary to provide space for people to process with us. So we will move directly into that right after the show. If you need to leave, please feel free to do so. But just to let you know, that happens directly after the performance, okay? Housekeeping rules, turn off cell phones. Anything you have that's gonna make noise and disturb a fellow audience member or a cast, we actually ask that you just turn that off for the next couple of hours. This show does run for 2 hours without an intermission. If you do need to leave to use the facilities, please use the door you came in and just walk back in quietly to your seat when it feels appropriate in the show. Thank you so much for being here to support us, and please enjoy the Bible Women's Project. Thank you.
Thank you, places. Hi. This is the Bible Women's Project.
This is the Bible Women's Project.
We are women. We read women's stories in the Bible.
We had already heard the men's.
And we asked what it was like to be in these women's shoes. To be Mary Magdalene, a woman whose entire story gets rewritten.
To be Rizpah, refusing to let a man's vengeance destroy her sons even after death.
To be Vashti and resist by saying no.
To be Esther and resist by saying yes.
To be Abigail and Bathsheba and Rebecca and Jezebel.
Rahab and Pilate's wife. Miriam and Tabitha. Resisting and demanding.
Michal, Deborah, and Jael.
Zelophehad's daughters.
Demanding to be heard.
What did they need to share?
What can we understand only by being in their place?
What do we discover when we talk about who we never talk about, like Hagar?
And Jephthah's daughter.
And Elizabeth.
I find power.
I find strength. Tenderness.
Loneliness.
Anger.
I want to fight.
I want to cry. What happens to you when we tell the stories the way they were written?
And tell you the truth of their lives through ours.
And give voice to the women who are not named.
What are you here to hear?
We ask some serious questions.
Like, when have you ever felt bullied by another woman, like Hannah was?
Okay. When I was in 7th grade, I was made fun of by all the other girls because I didn't have breasts yet.
Yep, same, except for me, it was because I hadn't gotten my period yet.
When has a woman sacrificed for you? Like Tabitha did.
Oh, I had a friend once who literally put her body in between me and the guy who was fighting me. And she just held me.
I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for a neighbor who gave me a place to stay when I had no home.
When have you known something intuitively to be true and been ignored for it, like Pilate's wife?
Every time I go to the doctor.
What is your unforgivable sin, and how do you cope with having committed it?
Don't worry, not all answers will be shared.
But we'll be staying after the show for a talk back, so you can ask us questions if you're curious.
It's also important to know that every personal story you hear today is true.
But not every story shared belongs to the woman sharing it.
The point is, what is the Bible Women's Project? Well, we'd like to show you,
But we're also warning you.
some topics may be difficult.
These women experienced war, murder, rape, incest, domestic abuse. The Bible is not an easy place for women.
Our own stories aren't easy to hear either.
You may not like to hear everything we have to share.
But we were finally given the opportunity to speak.
And so we're sharing what came up for us when we heard these women's stories.
I just want to be heard. Maybe they did too.
I just want to be heard. Maybe they did too.
Maybe they did too.
Maybe they did too.
I just want to be heard.
Maybe they did too.
Maybe they did too. I just want to be heard. I just want to be heard.
Maybe they did too.
I just want to be heard.
I just want to be heard. Maybe they did too.
Maybe they did too.
You've been warned.
suffer great pains in childbirth because of her. It was the first story I remember being taught in Sunday school. I was 4, 5.
Even the serpent sitting in a tree. S-I-N-N-I-N-G. First goes Eve, then goes Adam, then goes all the women for eternity, madam.
We were told it was a woman who sinned first. A woman who tempted man. A woman who got us thrown out of the garden. If not for a woman, what? We'd all be okay?
Eve ate the apple, now she's in big trouble. Dust to dust, we all fall down.
But I always wondered what it might have been like to be in Eve's shoes. 1, 2, 3, 10.
Ready or not, here I come. I found you, and I found you, and you, and you, and you, and you. I found everybody.
Would I have eaten the fruit? Am I really that much stronger than she was? Are any of us?
Evilly don't drag us down, drag us down, drag us down. Evilly don't drag us down, or we'll get you. Paradise is shutting down, locked up now, kick you out. Paradise is shutting down, you're not welcome.
I wonder if I had lived every day in perfection, if I had been filled with innocence and wonder, then wouldn't the natural thought be, maybe the authority is just mistaken and nothing will really happen? What rules have you challenged? What did you discover when you did?
Rules. All I know how to do is break them. I challenged a lot of rules growing up and got the reputation of being disrespectful as a result.
It wasn't until I was an adult that I started to ask questions.
I question a lot of rules, but only in my head.
Tell me what not to do, you'll see me do that exact thing.
Started asking questions about the rules that made no sense.
I never question authority.
And I don't care necessarily, but it hurts to be thought of as disrespectful, as I'm just standing up for what I see as wrong.
I've been called a lot of things for calling out a lot of them.
I guess it's because my father was in the military.
I stood up to an abusive stepfather to protect my brother.
If we broke the rules, the punishment was pretty severe.
Started asking questions about rules in church.
And I thought the people in church would be proud of me, but instead they quoted the 5th commandment at me.
And they would always say, this is the way it's always been done.
Honor thy father and thy mother. I've protested, sat people down, gotten groups together to challenge authority.
Like, severe.
And I was like, a loophole. This guy is not my mother and not my father.
It made no sense.
And since they weren't in my shoes, I took the risk that God wasn't going to send me to hell and kept disobeying my stepfather.
Rules keep people in authority.
So I started cutting.
And when I started to advocate for those who the rules were hurting, it was not appreciated.
I keep my scars hidden. It's safer that way.
So I parted ways.
I'm interested in freedom.
And eventually, I made it out. And so did my brother.
It feels freer that way.
I was finally free.
I guess I needed proof that it was wrong. I needed to know what wrong felt like. I had only known good and right, and I don't know. I thought I would feel different afterwards. I thought I would instantly feel guilty. I would wake up the next day and hate myself and want to tear my eyes out. I don't know. Something. But instead it just felt normal. Natural even. Like I was feeding myself something I'd always needed. I guess what no one tells you is the knowledge you gain over doing the wrong thing is the worst part. You know now what the fruit tastes like, and the punishment of your own guilt and pain over having done the wrong thing is enough. To be kicked out of my home on top of that? I get it, but I didn't need it. If you had just given me some time to see the sin, if you had just let me feel the weight of what I did on my own, it eats away at you. It'll never go away. The nature of sinning against someone you love is punishment for the sin itself. You can't unknow what you know.
Job done and kill a Sisera in your life. Am I right, JL?
Sisera!
Yes! Today on the show we have Abram and his wife Sarai from the land of Canaan. Let's give them a warm welcome. So great to have you on the show.
We're happy to be here.
So, I'm hearing you're having some procreation problems.
Well, I certainly am not.
Are you blaming this on me?
Well, you certainly haven't provided me a son yet.
Well, maybe if you weren't so busy shacking up with our servants, maybe we'd actually have some time together.
What do you mean you brought that girl to me?
Whoa, let's pause for a minute. Thank you, JL. Let's backtrack for a minute. So, Sarai, did you present your servant Hagar?
Deborah. Don't sugarcoat it for him. Hagar was a slave.
Okay. Sarai, did you present your slave Hagar to your husband for the procreation process?
Procreation process.
Technically.
And did you ask for Hagar's consent before committing this act?
Well, I mean, she's a slave and I couldn't have a child, so...
Thank you, JL. Abram, did you consult with God before, let's call it what it is, abusing Hagar?
Whoa.
Abram, did you consult with God?
Abusing her.
to put it like that.
You heard her.
Moving on. So, is there a result of you having your way with her?
I wouldn't put it that way, but yeah, she's giving me a child.
Oh. So you must both feel content having what you want now.
Of course I don't have what I want. How can I be content? Ever since the act, every time I see her, I feel utter disgust. She was like a daughter to me. She grew up in our home. I raised her, which makes her like a daughter to Abram, too. I just wanted a child. I had no idea I would feel such a hate afterwards. This whole thing got way out of hand.
Is Hagar still living in your home?
She ran away.
What? That's my child. She has no right.
Well, I tell you what, folks. Our next guest was found wandering in the wilderness by an angel of the Lord. Let's see if she can clear up some of these details. Let's bring out Hagar!
How's it going, A.B. baby?
Hagar, why don't you tell all of us what happened?
Yes, Queen, tell us everything.
Oh, tea time, okay. So here's the thing. So Rai was the one who came to me, and she demanded that I provide a child. Well, I'm sorry that love came with it.
Wait, what? No, I'm not doing this. Hagar, are you saying you're in love with Abram?
I mean, yeah, I gave myself to him, even if I was asked to do so. I ended up feeling stronger than I expected.
Abram, are you in love with your servant Hagar?
Absolutely not.
Well, that's not what he said in bed.
We have time. I can tell you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you the story of Tamar, but it's a little confusing, so stick with me, okay? So Tamar, she gets married to Judah's son, Er. But Er's not a great guy, so God gets rid of him. That's what it says. Sorry. Now, according to law, when a woman gets married into a family, she stays within that family. So Judah, Tamar's father-in-law, as is his right, gives Tamar to his next son, Onan.
This is the one. This is gonna be the one.
And Judah's all, do your duty, give him children.
I'll give you children. I love how it's assumed it's a woman's duty to have children.
Well, certainly in Bible times it was.
Yeah, but even today. Because I don't want to have children, I feel like I'm looked down upon by the church.
Why do you feel that way?
I don't know. I guess all the women in leadership positions have children. All the women who preach about have children. And as soon as you get married, the question is, when are you going to have children? It's like this subtle message.
Well, Tamar does her duty like the Bible woman she was. But Onan does not. See, he knows that technically this child's not going to be considered his. So he pulls out. He takes out.
I need to clarify.
I'm going to go get the Bible because I'm not about to get canceled. So, let's see what the good word
The
is.
anticipation is killing me.
Okay, I got it. He spills his seed on the ground. And God's like, okay, you're done. And he gets rid of Onan too. Join the club. I didn't even tell you. Sorry. So Judah's a little concerned because not one but two of his sons have died after sleeping with Tamar. And he should give Tamar to his youngest son, Shelah.
I'll be Shelah. Near
Sit down. Sit. As I was saying, he should give his youngest son, Shelah, to her, but instead, he's like, Tamar, go home, okay? Until Shelah's old enough and can be with you. Now you have to remember, she can't be with anyone else. She can't find anyone until Shelah gets older. She can be with them. She's trapped. In a sense, yeah, until Shelah grows up and Judah fulfills his promise.
Something tells me he doesn't do that.
Hang on. So time goes by and no Shelah. And one day, Judah's wife dies. And when Judah, after he's done grieving, he goes to Timnah, where Tamar lives.
Oh, so he's gonna fulfill his promise.
Hang on. So Tamar pretty much figures out that Shelah's never coming to get her, hears that Judah's on his way, and decides to disguise herself as a prostitute.
Hiya, big boy.
Well, hello there. Come now, let me sleep with you.
Come now, let me sleep with you.
And what will you give me to sleep with you?
I'll give you a young goat from my flock, he says.
I'll give you a young goat from my flock.
Will you give me something as a pledge until you send it?
What pledge shall I give you?
What pledge shall I give you?
Your seal and its cord and the staff in your hand.
So he gives them to her and he sleeps with her. And Tamar becomes pregnant. Magic sheet! 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 And when he's done, Tamar takes off her veil and puts back on her woman's clothes. So long story short, Judah hears that Tamar is pregnant, which of course could have only meant that she prostituted herself. And he's really angry, so he goes back to Timnah to confront her.
You'll be burned to death. Kill me if you will, but the father of my child owns these.
What?
Do you know who owns these?
No.
Actually, as much sense as it would have made for him to deny it, Judah owns up to it. He realizes he set Tamar up for failure in the first place, and she was in the right by having his sons and keeping the bloodline.
Yeah, they're mine.
The best part is yet to come. She has twins! And when she's giving birth, one of them sticks his hand out and waves, and they tie a scarlet cord around his wrist so they know which one was born first. But he pulls his hand right back in, and the other one was born first. His name was Perez.
You know, there's another Tamar in the Bible. She was the sister of Absalom, David's son.
Absalom!
William Faulkner. Classic American literature.
No.
You know what? Cool. Continue.
But David's other son, Amnon, loved Tamar, but, couldn't marry her because they were half brother and half sister.
Wait, half brother and sister? Does that distinction make a difference? I mean, there's still brother and sister.
Well, Amnon makes that distinction in 2 Samuel.
And who is Absalom and Tamar's mother?
Mega.
And who is Amnon's mother?
Ahinoam.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure we got their names in there. Continue.
Amnon is sick over the fact that he loves Tamar, but, couldn't be with her because she was a virgin. She was only available for marriage.
Wait, he couldn't be with her because she was a virgin? Does that mean if she hadn't been, he could have done what he wanted with her?
I'm guessing.
Wow. Okay, continue.
So Amnon is sick over how much he loves this woman he can't be with. So he goes to his friend Jonadab. Now Jonadab was crafty, and Jonadab lays out this plan for Amnon, saying, lie down in your bed and pretend to be ill. And when your father comes to see you, tell him, please let my sister Tamar come and bring me food and prepare the food in my sight so that I may see it and eat it from her hand.
Wait, so here, when talking to his friend, Amnon refers to Tamar as his full sister. The Bible says he says, my sister Tamar.
Yes.
So in this little plan of Amnon's or Jonadab's, or whoever's, the phrase, my sister Tamar is spoken, so he admits this is his sister he's planning to use.
Right.
Well, we all know what's going on here, right? I mean, Amnon is only pretending to be sick so that Tamar can have a reason to go to his room. And we all know what he's going to do to her. And I don't care if they don't share the same mother. This is incest.
Right.
Okay. Continue.
So, as you said, Tamar goes to his room, and Amnon grabs her and says, come, lie with me, my sister.
Okay, again, he's calling her sister.
And she says, no, my brother, do not force me. Do not do this disgraceful thing.
She calls him brother.
And she says, just go to the king. I'm sure he'll give you permission, but do not force yourself.
Wait, she didn't have permission herself, but her father could have given her own brother permission to have sex with her?
And he forces himself on her. Afterwards, he is disgusted and tells her to get out. I mean, he hates her as soon as he's finished with her.
He's mad at her for this? He's blaming her for his sin.
And she says that sending her away is worse than what he's already done. And she has on this beautiful robe that only virgins wear, which she, of course, feels gross wearing now. So she tears it off, and she leaves. And she goes to her brother, Absalom.
Absalom! Absalom!
Who guesses right away that Amnon has raped her and tells her not to take it to heart because Amnon is her brother.
What? Like, it's no big deal, it's her brother, and I'm sure he didn't mean anything by it? Or it's her brother and there's nothing she can do about it? What does it mean she shouldn't take it to heart?
And Tamar remains desolate in her brother Absalom's house.
Desolate. She never marries or anything? What happens to her?
We never hear from her again in the Bible.
After the rape, she disappears from the Bible? How does she cope? Who does she talk to? What happens when she falls in love and she's afraid to have sex because of what happened? And does this destroy her? Like, what are women who have, or men, or what are people supposed to get from this story?
I don't know.
What does David do to Amnon when he hears about the rape?
David doesn't do anything.
But doesn't Absalom kill his brother over this?
Yes, he plots for 2 years and kills him.
And David's response then?
He grieves, but he gets it.
Absalom. Absalom.
He knows why Absalom did what he did.
David basically did the same thing with Bathsheba, you know? Saw her, she was beautiful, made her have sex with him, had her husband killed in order to marry her just to hide the out-of-wedlock pregnancy.
Like father, like son.
And later, Absalom fights against his father for the throne.
David hid his own sin by orchestrating Bathsheba's husband's murder through war.
He hid it. He wasn't open about it. He didn't teach his sons about the power of temptation. He hid it.
Absalom. Absalom.
What if David had just shared his story of his mistakes with his son?
And tragically and ridiculously, Absalom's hair catches onto a tree branch while he's riding out to fight his father, and he's left hanging there.
If David had just shared what he learned about lust and rape.
Well, the Bible doesn't say David raped.
Did she have a choice in whether to have sex with him or not?
No.
And the leader of the army that David had appointed killed Absalom, even though David had commanded he be kept safe should he be found.
What if David had just shared his own story of temptation with his sons?
And David mourned that he lost both sons.
I have never known a father to admit something like that to his sons.
So, hiding the sin is better?
Absalom. Absalom.
No.
So,
The show has been going on for 10 years now. Before #MeToo, before a lot of things.
I actually saw this show before I was in it, and it was the first time that I ever knew that my story was in the Bible.
My faith has grown with this show. Maybe because of this show.
I feel closer to God when working on this show.
I'm more of a believer now because of this show. As new women join, new stories are shared.
new Bible women's names are brought into the circle, and we read their stories, and we ask questions about how their lives might have been, and how our lives are not that different.
New connections to old stories get made.
We find out how not alone we are.
We find out how stories we shared in our circles years ago still give language to others looking for direction.
That's why we have to keep sharing these stories. Why we have to keep reading this book ourselves so we can find out how God sees us, how He's always seen us.
But it feels like some people don't want us to feel seen, or see each other, or know the truth, or what? What is it? Why aren't these stories talked about in churches?
We have to ask the ones telling the stories.
Wait, but some things do remain the same, you know? How we connect across time and culture to women, and to the women in the Bible. I was like Mary when I first joined. I needed my Elizabeth, a motherly figure, someone who knew what I was going through and could help me go through it together. Always in search of a mother. I've had a million across the world.
I feel like Rahab. Like, she's put in a position where she has to go up against her people to either survive or die. And she bargains to save her family and loved ones. You know, it's like these men say, resist and die. She's like, I can resist and save some lives too. I'm feeling these women who always find ways to resist.
I feel like the woman with the issue of blood. Like, only a miracle will save me because doctors can't or won't.
I feel like Bathsheba. Like, I'm just on this trajectory of life, just living, trying to figure things out, do my thing. Literally, I'll be doing my self-care routine, and a man will come along and ruin it with lust and promises. Like, he sees my body, and that's all he wants. That's all he knows. That's all he's seen, but he says he has to have me. And do I think to myself, he'll take care of me? Do I think, is this what I'm supposed to want? Did Bathsheba think those things? When she got pregnant, did she think, he'll provide, I'll move in with him, or did she suspect the truth and think, no, as soon as I tell him, pretend the baby isn't his, and he'll actually destroy everything in my life in order to protect himself? Did she ever worry that the baby?
When we find ourselves in these places, it's at least good to know that we're not alone in our experiences. I can find a pathway forward through Abigail, who says, screw this, I'm breaking the rules anyway. or Miriam, who says, I don't care if I'll get in trouble, I will disobey, and I will save my brother, and then I will sing, and I will dance, and I'll even challenge God. Or Esther, if I perish. don't know, I find courage through that.
And me?
I need courage right now. What do you need right now? What are you seeking in a woman's example?
Joy.
Joy,
Kindness.
Kindness.
compassion,
Compassion.
community, unity,
Rest.
rest. What are you seeking? Anyone? Forgiveness. Acceptance. Patience. Leaders. Machine.
Acceptance. 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 This is the story of Jephthah's daughter. When Jephthah was at war with the Ammonites, he asked God to grant him victory, and in turn he would give God a sacrifice. Whatever comes out of my house to greet me after my triumph, I shall give to the Lord as a burnt offering. So Jephthah wins and returns home. And guess who comes running out of the house to greet her loving father?
Oh, the wind, it is a song that harbors through the winter. Oh, the sand, it is a door that bids the song to enter.
Jephthah's daughter was innocent, an only child. She came out of the house singing and dancing with tamarines. She was so happy to see her father. And Jephthah was, of course, destroyed. He tore his clothes and cried. But Jephthah's daughter told him to follow through on his vow to God. She sacrificed herself.
And let us sail the sea
Jewish, and this moment of self-sacrifice for me defines so much of my heritage. In Judaism, there is no heaven, so we don't do good works because we'll get our jewels and our crown after we die. For us, there is only right now. People need us now, and that requires sacrifice. Sacrifice is a part of the Jewish existence here on earth.
The singer loves to season long, while the song it lasts forever.
But before Jephthah's daughter made that sacrifice, she asked her father if she could spend her last days in the hills with her friends. She knew she would never marry, never know love of that kind, so she mourned in a safe place with other women.
Oh, the wind, it is a song that harbors through the winter. Oh, the sail, it is a song that guards us through the winter.
In the Torah, the Israelite women set an annual tradition to commemorate the sacrifice made by Jephthah's daughter. Still today, they celebrate her through rituals of lamentation. They go out into the hills together, sing and dance to remember her.
Oh, the sail, it is a song that let us sing together. The sail as the season grows, the sail sings together. The singers as the season long, while the song is raised forever. The singers as the season long, while the song it lasts forever.
A woman told me this story. I often think, would I have ever known of Jephthah's daughter otherwise? Does it take women to share the stories of women in the Bible? To find them at all? What story do I need to know, and what woman will be brave enough to share hers with me? What story do I need to share?
Oh, the wind, it is a song that harbors through the winter. Oh, the sail, it is a song that guards us through the winter. And oh, the sail, it is a song that lets us sing together. The singers as the season long, the sailors sing together. And singers as the season long, the songs sing forever. The singers as the season long, the songs sing together. The singers to season long, while the song it lasts forever. The singers to season long, while the song it lasts forever.
Day 3. Today I have stopped crying. I can't anymore. I am just empty. There's a hollow ache in my chest and I long to hold and comfort, but there is no one for me to care for anymore. My sons, their bodies hang above me, and I thought I would cry to look on them again, but there is nothing. So I scream. They deserve a proper burial and not to rot like common criminals in the sun. They deserve life.
Day 8. I have not eaten for a few days. I feel selfish to want food, to forget my sons, and to focus on my hunger. I am tired too. My bed of rocks has made my body sore and bruised and stiff. The sun has grown hotter too. Sometimes I feel so dizzy that I feel like my faint from the sun's hot glare. Perhaps I am dead, and this is my life.
Day 15.
They tried to sit and mourn with me, but I did not respond. I cannot feel this dagger stuck in my heart. I drank the water, but the stench of decay is so strongly caked inside my nostrils I cannot bring myself to eat.
Day 17. The vultures are circling ahead and I have a stick to beat them away, but I am getting so tired. When they attacked today, I could only find the strength to keep them away from my own sons. I'm ashamed at myself for not guarding the others.
Day 37. They tried to force me back to the city today. I never expected to fight off men when I came out here. When they grabbed at my arms, I kicked and screamed and scratched, just like the animals I have been battling. The soldiers.
Day 67. I don't recognize my voice anymore. Scraps of cloth and bones. Things which had once made them unique and beautiful has once made them my darling sons have rotted
The
away.
glorious battle she always dreamed of. No one will ever know that Armin used to secretly take care of injured animals, but that Mephibosheth never felt worthy enough to be his father's son. I feel cheated for them. They will never grow into men, never marry, never have children of their own. I will never know what could have been.
I feel cheated
I will never know what could have been.
Never grow into men, never marry, never have children of their own. I will never know what could have been.
There are no more days to count. David has repented at last. He has cut down my sons and the others. He buried them and Saul and Jonathan together, and the family too.
It is raining now, and my dry skin drinks up the cool drops. I have won a small victory today. So small that I think perhaps it will never be known.
But I do not need praise or recognition. I do not need David's apologies.
I only want to rest now, and to see my sons when I wake up, far away from here.
Far from the bloodlust of righteous men. Far from the pain and suffering of this
Far
dust.
from the pain and suffering of
Far
this dust
from the
covered
pain
world.
and suffering
Far from the pain and suffering
of this dust-covered world.
I am done here and want no more of it. cannot describe it, for there are no words. I was so rejected, so alone. But when he spoke to me, when I looked into his eyes, I knew he could see beyond what they said about me, beyond the story they told, which wasn't even. He was thirsty, but not for me. And I was thirsty, but not for men. Believe it or not, I was rarely thirsty for men. Everyone just assumes, like it's in my blood. But when he talked to me, suddenly not thirsty, suddenly and never again.
I am the woman. I am the woman dragged to him in the dirt. I could already feel the stones they were about to. Where was my lover? Why was he not beside me as was law? Why only me, the woman? But here, a different sort of man, his words to them, their arms raised with stones, I could already feel the blood running. But his words to them, their arms lowering, his hand reaching out for me.
I am the woman. I am the woman who sought him. I had endlessly felt the blood forever flowing. But I knew someone must want to listen. Someone must care about the pain. Surely someone existed. I could not speak words. I knew if only I could touch him. He knew, he felt it, his eyes, he saw, he looked at me, and we knew. I could feel the flow stop. He looked at me, and I knew.
I am the woman. I am the woman who felt in her gut that something was wrong in my body, but nobody listened. I was vomiting, I was bleeding, I couldn't get off the floor. I was made to feel crazy because no one took me seriously. Sometimes I wonder, am I crazy or is something actually the matter with me, and how will I ever know? When a doctor finally listened, I was convinced they were an angel, maybe even a savior.
I am the woman.
I am not named.
I am the
everything
woman.
I have.
need no name.
I sometimes cannot move.
Got it.
Cannot lift
Saw
my
it.
head
No
from
one
the
ever
pillow.
noticed me.
And I wonder,
I am the woman who's
who will bring
I am
healing?
the woman.
You call
My
me a woman.
intuition is God's word speaking.
It's my body, but I am taught to ignore it.
It's just my body after all. What does it matter?
We are women.
Here are stories.
He wants them to be heard.
It's because he listened that our stories have been preserved.
Follow his example.
It's because of him.
He saw me. He saw us.
Reached out when no one else would.
His hands.
His blood.
Looked at me when everyone else looked away.
Or didn't see at all.
Listened.
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 Listen.
Listen. Listen, everyone! Peter's at the door!
So, I'm guessing you don't know the story of Rhoda. I didn't. I had never heard a single sermon about Rhoda at all growing up in the church.
Everyone, Peter's here! He's at the door!
I mean, there's so many women in the Bible that we don't talk about that I think we should know about. Like, shouldn't we find inspiration in Anna, who God called on even after she was like 100 years old? Or what about all the women Paul names as faithful in the New Testament? Come on, what are their names?
Priscilla, Claudia, Eunice, and Lois.
And Lydia, small business owner. I mean, there's so many. Sometimes I wonder if Rhoda was talked about. Maybe I wouldn't feel so alone and, well, feeling all alone.
Is anyone listening to me?
When Peter was in prison. There was a group gathered at the house of Mary, just one of the many Marys. And they were all praying for Peter to be released from prison.
My gosh, Peter is here!
So, there's a knock on the door. Rhoda, a damsel, not in distress, just a young unmarried girl, goes to the door. I'll get it! And she finds Peter at the door. Rhoda is so excited. I mean, it's Peter. He's supposed to be in prison. How was he here? But she knew it was him. She recognized his voice.
I know, it's him. I recognize his voice.
So Rhoda comes running back into where everyone is praying and says,
Peter's
at the door!
Shh.
And they didn't listen to her.
Shocking.
But then they heard the knocking and the voice and opened the door themselves and saw Peter standing at the door.
Hey, Peter! Great to see you here.
So, my question to you after hearing Rhoda's story is, when have you felt your voice ignored?
Okay, my turn, I guess. I know I'm the immigrant in the group. Just don't like to talk about it much because, I don't want to be reduced to that as my status. Like, that's not all I am. An accent or an ethnicity. Sometimes I think to myself, and with the things going around in the world, that maybe if I use my voice, that maybe if I share with everybody what we go through, maybe it'll make a difference. But it's when we do speak up, it's the way people respond, It takes a whole layer of bravery every time. I think if I were Rhoda, it wouldn't matter what I said. Because when people have made up their minds about you, they don't like to hear you. And people have made up their minds about a lot of us, immigrants. So it doesn't matter how kind I am or how good I'm at my job or how well I get along with everybody. End of the day, I always have people telling me how good my English is. Like, that's all they see in me. I want to tell them I actually speak 5 of the languages. I do. And yet, as good as my English is, it's when I finally speak about how I feel, they claim they don't understand a word. I've spoken up in classes, and had some really brilliant things to say, and I get ignored. And an English speaker says that exact same thing, and they get, "Oh, wow!" Or even, "Oh my God, that was so insightful." Like, just because I speak with an accent or not perfect English grammar, I'm not as smart. Or when I do finally speak up, they are shocked. I don't get it. Just want to tell them, I am not here to be a threat, but to find a home, away from home.
I've had a lifetime of women who had no obligation to me, but took care of me when I needed it.
What has happened? She's gone.
Tabitha, she cared for me when I had no one. She gave me this. Is it true? I just heard.
I'm so sorry, yes.
She made this for me to keep me warm. When my husband was gone and I had no one.
I had a sister. Well, she wasn't my blood sister. You know those women. My own sister brought her into our lives, and she became like another big sister to me. And when my birth sister died, she was there. I had her arms around me. This woman who wasn't even my family became my family.
Is it true, the Dorcas?
Yes. Please come in and pay your respects.
When my husband died, I had to beg for bread and a coat to wear. This is the one she made me.
I've had a lifetime of women who stepped in to be my mother when my mother couldn't. I just love how women step into roles for each other.
Tabitha prayed for me when no one else would.
Dorcas would sit and talk with me and laugh with me and bring me joy.
She would tell me stories, keep me company,
Hold me.
cry with me, wipe my tears.
Friends who saw me in an abusive relationship and kept me safe. And teachers who knew there was a problem but didn't blame me for my bad behavior. And church ladies who never married and never had children but would quietly squeeze my hand to show me that they saw me, even if they felt unseen themselves.
Dorcas was the only one who visited me when everyone else stayed away.
Tabitha held my hand when I was sick. No one else would.
There was a woman at a train station once who handed me a tissue when I was crying. And another time in a bathroom when a woman offered me a hair tie. And I remember once feeling so invisible. And this woman stopped me just to tell me that I was pretty. My life is filled with moments of the collective woman taking care of me.
She will be missed. She ministered to both Jew and Gentile and did not share the world's belief that they should be considered different, and was loved by both in return.
That's why I've always loved the story of Tabitha, or Dorcas, whichever name you prefer. Luke tells her story, and it's such a short and simple story, but it's so rich. Her life is filled with giving to the women in her community who needed it the most. I mean, just the fact that both her Jewish and Gentile name are used goes to show that she didn't allow a barrier of identity to keep her from giving equally to everyone. And when the women in this community hear that she's died, they simply could not release her to death. This woman who had given them life would now be brought back to life. When Peter hears about this community created by one woman's love and how it's gathered in her room and won't leave, he goes to the room where she lies. And he sits with her and he prays with her. And he simply tells her, "Get up." And Tabitha blinks her eyes and she gets up and she returns to this community she has given life to for years. See, I wonder if her story is in here for all the women who go unnoticed. God sees you. We see you.
We see you.
All the
and caring more about hanging out with friends. I mean, at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about?
Ding dong.
Martha, it's for you!
Who would come up? Oh, it's you. I'm so sorry. I mean, I was trying to get everything, but I was trying to, but Mary, she just went, oh.
My sister and I are just like Mary and Martha. She might make fun of me until I cry, and I might rip her hair out of her head, but we would fight the world for each other.
I wish Martha didn't get such a bad light shone of her in sermons about the story. Okay. Jesus says, Martha, you are troubling yourself with so many things. I only need one thing, and Mary's already doing it. Don't take it away from her. But maybe Jesus isn't trying to chastise Martha, but to let her know that true friends are the ones who don't have to clean for. I know a lot of women who could use that message.
Martha, it's not too late. Come, sit.
Here's the story of a man named Lazarus, who was so sick that he probably up and died. Mary and Martha, his two sisters, got mad at Jesus, slowly crying.
Oh, Martha, why didn't he come? I thought he loved us.
But Mary, he has come into the town and he wants to speak with you.
With me?
Well, I won't tell you what he already told me, but it's going to make you happy.
Aww. If you would have been here, our brother would not have died.
I already told him that.
But I thought you loved him.
And Jesus wept.
Look how much he loved him.
But then, why?
I love these women. They do not let Jesus get away with this. In fact, they flat out blame him because he should have been there. And does he silence them? No. He listens to them, has a conversation, and then raises loud voice. So why is it that when women hold authority accountable today, they're silenced?
Take away the stone.
Jesus, it's been like 4 days. The body's gotta be smelling really bad right now.
Just do it, Martha.
You do it, Mary.
I know. Let's do it together.
Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me.
Patience is a virtue.
And so, as we see from the example of Mary Magdalene, a destitute prostitute who could only be saved by Jesus,
Wait, what are you saying? That's not my story.
the women in Jesus' life had to be cured if they were going to be considered disciples like the men, whom Jesus merely had to ask and dropped everything to follow him.
What are you talking about? That's not my story.
Mary Magdalene slept around. Who knows how many men?
Stop. That's not what happened. Let me speak.
She is the classic sinful woman, the one who Jesus will embrace with open arms after she repents, after she releases her demons. Who knows everything she was doing? Witchcraft, sexual relations with unknown men, whatever kind of drugs they had back then.
Listen to me.
7 demons, this woman.
Whew. I am not who you say I am. You know nothing about me. Never asked about me. But you took away my truth. You took away my story. Rewrote my life to suit your needs. It would be hard to control women if the truth was that a woman like me is what he chose. It's who they all followed. Better to make me out to be promiscuous.
And who cares if I was?
Who cares if I was? I heard the
rumors about me, and you never gave me the chance to tell the truth.
A woman who sleeps around cannot possibly be an example of God's love for us. Beware of such a woman.
I was there when he died. Where were you? Where were all of you? I was there when the tomb was opened. Where were any of you?
Where were any of you when they lied about me later?
I heard the rumors about me. They never gave me a chance to tell the truth.
When my greatest fears is being disliked.
A prostitute.
Where did you get them? Look at the words written. Look at the actions taken. Stop rewriting my story.
Who cares if I was?
Where were any of you?
You made that fear come true.
They lied about me later.
What was your problem with me? I was always around women. Is that the problem? I didn't need any of you. Is that the problem? I had my own money. Is that the problem?
Beware the women who only keep company with other women.
My identity shifted without my knowledge.
I overheard them talking about me. The ones who said they loved me.
The ones I stood up for are suddenly against me without warning.
They lied about me later.
What was your problem with me?
Peter denied Jesus 3 times.
Try not to care what others say about me, but it hurts.
It hurts when your story is rewritten and all you did was love.
Thomas rejected the truth in front of him.
The ones who said they loved me.
I overheard them.
Without warning, they were against me.
Judas flat out betrayed him.
What did I do to you? Why do you hate me? Why am I who not to be?
My worst fears, my nightmares.
I was totally unprepared for having my story rewritten.
James and John fell asleep and let him get arrested.
I was there until the end. I could not have been more loyal.
I could not have been more
I
loyal.
was blindsided.
You destroyed me.
The ones I loved turned against me.
But let us remember the real danger. Mary Magdalene, the woman who...
Who what?
Who loved him? Who walked with him? Who listened to him and kept his confidence? Who stayed with him when everyone else left? Who watched him die? Who held his mother as she cried? Who was the only one at the tomb that morning? Where were you? Not there. You weren't there. No man was there. But I was. We were all there. I held his mother as she watched him die. I was there. I know the truth. Yet our stories get rewritten. Book is closed, the ink is dry, but the chapters are still wrong.
I sing a song of resistance. I call upon Esther who said I will. I call upon Vashti who said I won't. Show me your story between the lines and I'll tell you mine as I told the line. Show me the path to resistance as I cry for a song of resistance. I am not yet 30 and I'm already exhausted. I am tired and need a garden to rest in, to resist in, not to rejuvenate and replenish. I am tired of being the only person to speak up in a room. I am Vashti, tired of being called up, called in, called out. I resist being the strong black woman simply because I am a black woman. I resist being angry because you will call me angry, because you need to call me angry. I resist being seen, being shown, being paraded, simply because I am a woman. I sing a song for Vashti. I see you. I hear you. If I'm tossed aside, I'm tossed aside. We reject the roles you put us in. I sing a song of resistance. I sing a song for Esther. For the woman born for a time such as this. For the woman called upon cold inside, called Hadassah at birth. I am Esther, hiding behind a different name in order to protect my people. Whispering to myself to boost my courage. If I perish, I perish. The word's so bold, yet I know. I hear her, me, whispering to give myself courage, repeating the words to give myself the strength to walk. I am Esther. Something rises up in me. I cannot stay silent. Maybe it's my Haitian heritage. We've always known how to revolt, how to rebel, how to resist. I will not stay silent any longer. We reject the assumptions you make about us. If I perish, I perish. I see you women, brought together by fate, by circumstances, by God, making things happen because you are together. Esther and Vashti, Jael and Deborah, Miriam and Pharaoh's daughter. No wonder they want us to battle each other, to blame each other, to compete with one another. Stuff goes down when we are together. I'm sorry for blaming you, Bathsheba and Eve, for degrading your name, Jezebel and Delilah, for hiding too long from your stories, Hagar and Leah and McCall. I resist the urge to blame anymore, to listen to those who turn me against women. I resist temptation to cry alone, to assume that nobody will understand. I resist the notion that all men are against you, to believe that Mordecai no longer exists. I resist. I resist for Vashti. I resist for Esther. I resist for us. For women who seek other women. I seek a community of women. I resist going alone any further. Hear my song of resistance. and she decided to stay with Naomi instead of going back to her family.
What a brave act.
You should go introduce yourself.
You're right. What should I say? What should I say?
Start by hello. And then follow with, my name is Boaz. Tell her this is your land.
And chew on some roots. It'll make you look good.
Yeah, plus your breath stinks.
I am Boaz. Here's my land. Work for servants and come in. Go for vineyards, small land. I need glory on them all.
Tell me this land, a young woman from God's great plan. Boaz for the great I am, and she'll bring glory to us all. How can we bring her family great honor in one way? By working hard and marrying something in Christian way. What to do? This is something I'm not quite used to. I will bring shame upon us all.
So, your name, Ruth?
It is.
I want you to continue working here on my land with all these women, and I won't let any of them touch you.
Oh, kind sir, why are you so nice to me when I am a stranger in this land?
Well, I heard what you did for Naomi. You stayed with her even though it wasn't safe for you to do so. And besides, man, I'm attracted to you. Man, oh man, what was that? Can you believe I figured that out? I can't imagine what she thinks of me. Oh, damn, shame upon us all.
Please keep glory on us. Please keep glory on us. Please keep glory on us. Please keep glory on us all. The moon shines bright on the sand tonight, not a footprint anywheres. A lifetime of losing husbands. This is more than I can bear. What is left of me when my family's gone away? Where should I turn? Where can I stay? I can't give in. She needs to see. Maybe her best chance is not with me. I'll let her go to live a life and be a good wife. Let her go, can't hold her back anymore. Let her go, she has better things in store. I care too much to make her stay. Let her life move on. The pain should be mine to bear anyways.
Yes, man. Time to talk some business for Naomi's friend. She could use some flowers to make loaves of bread. Must make sure to leave some bits of bread. Pieces big and
sadly. My bad, but who will be my husband? Boaz, who is of our family on my husband's side, has been given you the eye, and if I'm not mistaken, you like him too. Okay, alright, spin around. Let's put this perfume on you, and tonight, when Boaz is sleeping, you'll go in there and, uncover his feet. Yeah, he'll pretty much tell you what to do next. There you see, sleeping there inside. You know that you shouldn't speak.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with deepest pride and greatest pleasure that I bring an end to our little musical. Sometimes it's just nice to hear the stories of joy, am I right? Well, there's plenty of difficult road up ahead. So for now, let's finish the story of Ruth, who is through her that Jesus eventually comes into being. Gives birth to a son, Naomi shows my sorrow star, and my family line is once again restored. A memory to Jesus, the new coming King, must be our Lord. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Hail me, Christ the Lord.
Can I share something? I've always related to the Samaritan woman at the well. I mean, I feel like I have to hide and only find you slow. I mean, she went out in the middle of the day to the well because that's when no one would be there. People got water in the cool of the morning or evening. She didn't want to deal with people who would talk about her, stare at her. I'm stalling. Man, this is harder than I thought. Okay, here it goes. I am happy, and I feel pretty secure being happy, but I don't feel loved by the church. And I feel like Jesus made it very clear by the way he lived, and especially the way he died, that his love extended to everyone. That there aren't supposed to be rules for who he loves. And it says in the Bible, in John, right after he gives his new commandment, to love one another. By this shall all men know you are my disciples, that you love one another. And if it is through this love that people may come to know Christ, how are we providing that opportunity to happy people? And I've looked for churches, churches that would accept me, no questions asked, but I've had to leave churches I've loved. Because as soon as they find out, the looks start. And then I'm the only one sitting in my pew. And then there are some that say I'm welcome, but people in the congregation don't agree with that claim and use me as an opportunity to show they don't agree. Or they go out of their way to say I'm accepted, but as soon as I want to get involved beyond sitting in the congregation, I'm told I can't really participate. Do you think if you don't let me stand in front of people, you can pretend I don't exist? I exist. I am here. And I just want to meet my thirst when the rest of the world does.
I've been accused of being happy. Listen to me. Accused. I don't even have the words for it except for in the negative.
Well, what are women supposed to do who are looking but can't find anyone? The accusations start.
Accusations that wouldn't exist if the church didn't make it an issue of contempt.
Instead, the fact that being happy is so unacceptable means many women rush into marriage with someone who might not be right because we're afraid of the rumors.
It seems like if you're a woman in the church who's strong, independent, outspoken, or even just single, you run the risk of the most feared label out there.
Gay. And I just feel like until Christians actually do what Jesus did, sit with us, talk with us, create a safe place for us, how can they possibly say they're living up to Christ's standards?
Do men go through the same thing, I wonder? I wonder. Remember, talk back afterwards.
I struggle with suicide.
What is your unforgivable sin and how do you cope with having committed it?
I use abstinence as a reason for why I won't have sex. But sometimes I wonder if that's what I really think. Or if I had been born with a better body. I don't know.
Can I just say this? The church was my only consistent family growing up. And when my parents got a divorce, I only had the church. And it was my father who made sure that he had us in church every Sunday and Sunday night and Wednesday night. But I'm with you. I wish that there was more honesty and openness and less closed doors. Because like all of you, I've been through it. And the one place where I felt the most loved was the one place where I felt like no one would understand.
Well, it's nice to know I have a safe place to talk about it.
Hey! Where do you think you're going?
I'm leaving. My mistress is mistreating me, abusing me. I can't stay here. I won't stay here.
Girl, you don't have any rights here. Go back and submit.
What?
Hey, hang on. It was the angel of the Lord. It was more reverent than that. My child, slave of Sarai, where are you going?
Running away.
But, Hagar, you shall have a son that shall be called Ishmael. Go back to your mistress and submit.
Am I allowed to say hell no?
Wait. Okay, it was an angel. It was far nicer than that, I'm sure. Oh, Hagar! Where have you come from and where are you going?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, sweet, precious Hagar, your place is at home with your mistress. Let's get you back.
No! Come on! Don't you know what this story signifies for so many black women? Doesn't anyone find it interesting that Hagar ran into an angel of the Lord on her way out of the situation and the angel sent her back? I mean, I always think of angels as being, on the side of the victim. And here, Hagar is raped as a slave, mistreated by her mistress after her mistress arranged the rape in the first place. I'm just saying I struggle with this and now we're going to portray it as if it's funny.
And it doesn't help that we just portrayed the first part of her story as if she fell in love with Abram.
Yes, thank you. Why did we do that?
We were trying to be funny.
And everyone laughed.
Hagar's story is one that American plantation owners use as an excuse for slavery and slave rape being okay. So when we don't talk about her, it feels like, and I'm just going to say this, it feels like white people not taking responsibility for their own sins. And I struggle more that most sermons sweep Hagar's story under the rug and then preach about Abraham and Sarah as if they're these amazing individuals.
Well, I think it's important to recognize that with Ishmael, Hagar birthed an entire religion. So it's not the world that's ignoring her, it's certain preachers.
But it's like, I read her story, and it feels like God ignores her. And then I go to church, and I wait for some brave minister to see her, to make others see her. And then nothing.
If we lean into the fear of Islam or any religion, what women's stories get ignored?
Does it help to know what Hagar says when the angel of the Lord stops her?
You are the God who sees me. I have have now seen the one who sees me.
I don't feel seen. I've been where she's been. I tried to run away, was pregnant, not married. I grew up in the church, so I didn't know what to do. So I confided in someone that I trusted at church. Said I wasn't sure if I wanted to have the baby or not. And she was appalled to think that I could ever think to abort a baby. I had just started college, went to a religious school, talked to people there, and they couldn't believe I would have just dropped out of school for the baby. Just by having the conversation, I lost friends and support. So I had her. And she died hours later. My child. And no one was there to hold me in the darkest moments of my life, and all I could do was hold her. Her tiny, cold body. When you screamed, has risen. I know those screams. And I've never let them go. So thank you for screaming for me.
I'm going to tell you something that I've never told anyone. I did not want this. I love children, don't get me wrong, but this? So late? Never did I expect, long after I had made my peace with being childless, that I would have a baby growing in my womb. And to be honest, although I longed for motherhood in the early days, well, I can't say that I wanted a baby. And then came the stares from the other people, my husband acting a fool. It didn't make sense, this baby growing inside of me. And so, I hid. For months. The first time I felt joy was when Mary came to see me and stayed with me. And when that happened, my baby leaped inside of me for the first time as he could feel my own spirits raise. Now, I'm not saying that I was suddenly okay with this whole arrangement. Sometimes, no matter how faithful you are and how willing you are to do whatever plan God lays out for you, it's still hard to accept it. But I knew that I wasn't alone. Someone was going through the same thing that I was going through, and we created a safe place to talk about it.
We hadn't done anything wrong.
The world wouldn't see it that way.
My parents would definitely not see it that way.
And I often wondered, how would we be written about later? What message would my story be used to send? Have faith, they tell the barren women. Even Elizabeth got pregnant later in life. But I hear you, barren women. But those words are no comfort. And because of my experience, I hear you too. Mothers who hold your children and do not want to admit that having children was never a desire. You do not have to speak. I hear you.
You guys, we're coming to the end and we still haven't gotten to half the women we talked about in our circles.
We're not going to get them all in there. We're just not.
But when we don't tell a Bible woman story, we don't tell one of our own. Yours, theirs. Do you remember when you said you had to find Maycall on your own?
And how she was such a source of strength for you?
Yes, I could have really used that story growing up. I would have felt seen by God.
Right. And what about Rahab? She must have been so scared when all those strangers came to her house, threatened her entire town. But she stood up to them and helped them to save her family. And it's through her bloodline that Jesus comes into being.
And the scarlet cord she used became a symbol for faith and strength.
Yes! These stories are so important. Their names need to be known.
So many of their names are mentioned in Jesus' genealogy in Matthew. It's like God called us to find them so that we could better know him and his son.
I grew up Catholic, and honestly, I loved church. But I always felt invisible. Like the women get cut out completely, which is weird, because Mary, Mother of Jesus, is so visible. But I've been on a recent journey of finding God through a female-based spirituality and a nature-based spirituality. It's helped me understand God more. Like, did you know that Ruach is the Hebrew name for the Holy Spirit, and that's a feminine name?
Cool, right?
It's like the Trinity can only be understood if we embrace that the feminine is sacred and is fully part of what makes God God.
Do we think God is revealing himself from the women in the Bible?
Oh, I know he is.
I don't necessarily subscribe to any particular denomination, but I wholeheartedly believe in the Trinity. And I feel like the more I think about this, what we're doing, it feels like God is asking us to show him more fully. It's like he's saying to us, you miss an entire piece of me and my message and who I am and my gifts when you ignore the stories of women.
It's like we're just getting started knowing him.
Yes. How can he be revealed through what happened to Rachel and Leah? And when they were pitted against each other? And Sapphira, who was set up to be caught in a lie? How can God be revealed through what happened to these women? And why do we always use them as examples of who not to be?
What would happen in moments if we thought about how we were hurting women? What would happen if we saw God as actively protecting and elevating women? What would we do in moments of war, of rape, of bargaining? What would change? If God is a God who sent his only son to die to elevate women, then acting in God's name means leading with taking the impact of women into consideration, doesn't it?
If we do that, what new peace might we discover? And why don't we ever stop and think about how decisions impact women?
Oh, Bathsheba.
So we have come to Bathsheba.
Okay, good. Let's talk about her because what I have never understood is why was she out bathing on the roof?
He was on the roof. David saw her bathing from where he was standing on the roof.
Oh.
Oh, Bathsheba.
Are you sure? I always heard it like she was out on the roof, like she was being purposely enticing or something.
Let us actually read the scriptures, shall we?
Oh, Bathsheba, tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why.
One evening, King David got up from his bed and walked around the roof of the palace. From the roof, he saw a woman bathing.
Oh, Bathsheba. Oh, Bathsheba.
The woman was very beautiful.
Oh, Bathsheba. Oh, Bathsheba.
So David sent someone to find out about her.
Oh, Bathsheba, don't go now. Now.
The man said, she is Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam and the wife of Uriah the Hittite. And then David sent messengers to get her.
Oh, Bathsheba. Oh, Bathsheba.
She came to him, and he slept with her.
Oh, Bathsheba. Oh, Bathsheba.
Now she was purifying herself from her monthly uncleanness, and then she went back home.
Bathsheba, tell me why? Why?
The woman conceived and sent word to David saying, I am pregnant.
So he sees her, and because he's king, he can send for her and she has to come?
Right. Sound familiar?
But seriously, that's never how I heard this story.
Heard it as a woman to blame again.
Yes, that's exactly how I heard it. Like she went out of her way to bathe in front of him and he just couldn't help himself.
Woman tempts man, man gives in, blames woman. Story never gets set straight.
I am so sick of hearing these women's stories and never believing the women. And here it is in the damn Bible, the word of God, over and over and over again, that it is the man who blames the woman and has the power and does what he wants to her because he has power. And yet we keep this story that she tempted him or asked for it in the first place, or just rewrite the story completely and never go back to read the truth. I can't anymore.
Question. Have any of you ever been taken advantage of by a man in power, even someone as righteous as King David? Have any of you ever felt as if you're only good for your... Have any of you ever been sexually harassed or blamed for... You know what? I already know the answers.
Wait, I want to answer that one. Why are you silencing us?
I know what it's like to be harassed by a Christian, married church leader, someone as revered like King David. Growing up in the church, hearing stories of women who were to blame for tempting men, I learned that my role as a female was to make sure that I didn't tempt men. So I dressed a certain way explicitly so that I wouldn't be tempting.
Oh, Bathsheba, tell me why? Why?
Anyway, this man burned me. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that I could be attractive to a married Christian man because I worked so hard to make sure that I was not sexy. So I was blindly led down a path of sexual harassment and emotional abuse that lasted for years.
Oh, Bathsheba.
And when I finally realized what was happening, I felt so used and betrayed that I almost lost who I was. And when I finally told people about it, they thought I just wanted attention. I mean, it's like they took one look at my obviously non-attractive self, right, and thought, she must be lying.
Oh, Bathsheba.
And then I think of all the women who are raped and blamed for it because they're dressed too sexy. We lose either way. And the church keeps making the women out to be the problem. So no, I'm not silencing you. I'm protecting you from...
Wow. Oh, Bathsheba, go and cry, cry, cry.
of weakness, watch and pray. Find in me thine all and all. Jesus paid it all. Oh, to him my own. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. Lord, now indeed I find thine alone can shed the leper's spots and melt out of stone. Jesus paid it all to him my own. Sin had left a crimson stain. He washed it white as snow. I remember hearing the story of Hagar and wondering why God would send her back to her abuser. What did that mean for me as a little black girl?
I remember thinking of her as a role model.
I will never hear the story of Sarah now without thinking of Hagar.
I remember hearing the story of Jephthah's daughter and being thankful I had an example of what to do when a man has vowed to take away everything.
What's that?
Find a safe place with other women.
I remember hearing the story of Eve as a child and wondering why she would punish all women for eternity.
I remember thinking, if God gave me a garden, I'd do it right this time.
I remember thinking the prayers prayed.
I am so sorry.
What might have been different if she'd had known forgiveness?
From God?
From us. Please.
What might Eve have shared with us if we'd stopped to look at things from her point of view?
Why didn't we?
What might we have done if we'd heard her?
I'd like to think I'd hug her.
I'd like to think I'd tell her my story so she knows she wasn't alone. I'd like to think I'd be Jesus for her.
I've heard you.
We've heard you.
Can we add house lights? Thank you. So again, we're going to move directly into our post-show conversation, but if you need to head out, please feel free to do so. Before we launch into the conversation, I'm just going to ask that we take a breath together. Our cast, this is very emotional for. So giving them a moment and ourselves a moment. So we'll just sit for a second. So just to move us into conversation and questions, I'll give you a little bit of history of the show so you know where we are and how we ended up here. So as we've said, this project started 10 years ago. I grew up in the church, and I was someone who struggled a lot with, things I was being taught, and also feeling like I was a little girl kind of pushing against authority and thinking, is this wrong? Because this is what I'm being told is wrong, but this is who I am. So struggling kind of with what authority was telling me and what I felt like the Bible was telling me. And I, years later, started thinking, am I alone in this? But we don't foster this kind of honest conversation in church, and certainly to question authority. So about 10 years ago, in 2014 originally, I asked a group of young women if they wanted to explore questions with me. And about 15 women met once a week, and we gathered in a circle. And I had been trained at that time in a theater community engagement practice called story circles, which is an indigenous practice. And the story circle basically goes like this. You ask the circle a question, and everyone shares from their own personal lives. No one has a chance to interrupt, and so everyone has as much time as they need to share what they've been through. So each week, a woman in our circle would bring in a story of a woman from the Bible. It may have been a story they grew up with and struggled with. It may have been a story that they had never heard of before, but they knew this woman was in the Bible. And we read the story directly from Scripture. We brought in historical context for that. And then I would respond with asking the women to kind of step into, theatrically, right? Step into the shoes of this woman and write her story from their perspective, but as if they were her. Then I also asked a story circle question. So for example, some stories that you didn't see today, and I just want to shout out their names since they're not in here. Abigail was a story from our original cast. And if you know Abigail's story, she is the Bible implies she's in an abusive relationship with her husband. And he is very stubborn and pushes against David, and David's going to come back and he's going to kill all of their servants. And Abigail completely breaks the rules, goes against her husband, and saves her household. She doesn't tell her husband about this until the next day because he's drunk, and he's abusive when he's drunk. So she tells him the next day, and the Bible literally has a line that says, after she told him, his heart turned against her for 10 days. That line is such a simple line, but if you're in an abusive situation, 10 days is a lifetime. So the question was, when have you gone against the rules to save someone? So that became a story circle question and experience. At the end of each evening, when we had the women speaking in the voices of the woman from the Bible, they shared their own stories. We also then created, I responded with some sort of theater exercise. Sometimes that was a drama therapy exercise, depending on what was shared. Sometimes it was scenes that we created about the women. So at the end of about 3 months, I had personal stories, monologues written in the voices of the women, and a ton of scenes and theater pieces. So I put the show together, and it was one of those things that we thought, we're going to do the show. It runs for a weekend. I grew up in the church doing drama. A lot of people are like, I don't want to go see church drama. I didn't even have enough programs for everyone because I did not think people were really going to come. And instead, we had a huge amount of people turn out and asked in the talkback for us to do it again. So we extended the show for another weekend. Same thing happened where people said, this cannot be the last time you do this. Please do it again. So we revived the show a few months later. In 2016, we went to the New York International Fringe Festival and performed off-Broadway there. And then we went on tour. And we were pretty much on tour until COVID. And I revived the show at Salve Regina University in Newport, Rhode Island, where I'm at now, with a whole new group of students. And I did not grow up Catholic, and Salve is a Catholic school. So also having a Catholic perspective was completely new, and it had a whole different take on this story. We performed, I'm just gonna tell the story. So we performed in the chapel, and we always have felt like it works really well in a church. So we performed in the chapel at Salve, and the Bishop of Rhode Island heard, and we have now been banned from all of the Catholic churches in Rhode Island. So yeah. But I will say when the show was revived in 2015, so we did it in the spring and the winter, and then we revived it again in the fall, that's when Pastor Gloria and Pastor Ray came to see the show. And at that time, the show was like 3.5 hours long because we did not want to cut anyone's story. And so we had an intermission. And in the middle of the intermission, Pastor Gloria came over to me and she said, Tara Brooke, listen, I'm going to be real with you. I came here just to be supportive of you, but I did not want to see another play that just dramatizes stories from the Bible. I've seen that. I'm never really moved by it. And she said, but this is something completely different. And at that time, she said, you got to get this out of the theater and get it into the church. And really, since then, we have been consistently in churches. And we 2 nights ago, we were in a theater. So, still not against theater. That's what we do. But it has a different power in the church. I mean, clearly, because we were banned, right? So it's doing something. So as I said at the beginning, going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival is my current yes, right? My yes has been, okay, we'll do it another weekend. Okay, we'll revive it. Okay, let's tour. So now we're at this point of, okay, let's try this international stage. For those of you that are not familiar with Edinburgh Fringe, I'm just going to use an analogy that is hopefully understood, but it is like the Broadway for new works, for experimental works, for works that are pushing boundaries. So it's a real honor for us to be there, and we will be in a church. We'll be in Stockbridge Church there. And with the Fringe, you have to get accepted by a venue. They have to believe in your work. And then you have to, apply further and pay for the venue. So we're so honored to have been chosen for this year's Fringe. Yeah. So that's where we are today. I'm going to ask a question of the cast just to kind of let your minds now kind of move from processing into questioning or sharing your own thoughts. So just a couple people, okay? What are you most hoping for from going to the Fringe? Nellie.
Hi guys, I'm Molly. One thing that I'm most hoping for is we were talking a lot about what audience would come to see this show. And it's right in the title. It can draw people into the show, but also really prevent that step in the door of, I don't know if I want to see a show about the Bible, but I think what I'm hoping the most is that the people
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Yeah. This is Isabella.
I think that we are all very vulnerable when we do this show, and creating this show is a very vulnerable act. And I hope that our audience here and the audience in Scotland, that they continue to be vulnerable with themselves and with others, because I think it just allows for people to have more empathy for each other. Because if you just stop sharing who you are, your stories, it becomes very easy to just assume what people go through. But, I think we need to be more open and honest.
Less closed doors. Great, thank you. So let me turn out here and see if there are questions that you guys have for myself or the cast, or anything that you want to share about how you experienced the show, what you're sitting with in this moment. I think we have a microphone. Yes. Oh, I knew it would be you. So we've got a microphone so that we can make sure that everybody in the room hears you, because, of course, we are wide. So, yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
Hello, thank you. I really appreciate it. This was quite powerful. So were the stories that some of you shared, were these your actual stories? Your stories?
Yeah, so what we say at the beginning is every personal story you hear in the show is true, but not every story that you hear belongs to the woman sharing it.
Okay.
So part of what I try to do is keep the women safe from having to share their own story, because sometimes that is so vulnerable to do publicly. Some of them are true from themselves because of their identity. Mahek, as an example. And we had this conversation. I asked if this was something she would want to do and share her own story. So I didn't put that on her as much as having this conversation. But yes, every story is true, but not everyone belongs to the woman sharing it. Yeah. Yes, down on the front here. Sorry, one more time.
I'm sorry. Yeah, why do you choose not to have an intermission? I think an intermission, even if it's 10 minutes, might be really helpful, because you're throwing a lot at us at once, and it would just allow people to catch their breath.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Yeah, so this is something. It's funny because the other day somebody said the same thing, and then half the audience said, "No, you can't give us a break." So it's, we've done it two different ways, right? We've done it with an intermission. We've done it without. And to be honest with you, and I know maybe because she's not here, I'm going to throw her under the bus. But when Pastor Gloria saw it, she said, "You have to keep us in our seats, because so many people don't want to engage, that giving them an opportunity to disengage, they might actually leave." And I was like, all right, Pastor Gloria, you're the one, right? I will say I'd love to get this down to like an hour and 40, so it's a little shorter. But it is really hard when I'm hearing their personal stories to figure out what we don't include, right? And we say it at the end, when we don't tell someone's story, somebody is being left out. But I hear you, and thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, I know you run the chance, like you said, of people leaving, but I think you also don't allow people who want to process to turn to the person on their right or the left and say, did you hear that? How did that impact you, or whatever? And like I said, to catch your breath.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people would do it, even if they go to the ladies' room to get water or whatever. Yeah. I think you leave those people out as well. Okay. I'm one of them.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah, over here in the middle, and then we'll move our way down.
Do you bring this to as smaller sessions? Because I think there's a great benefit in the youth at the churches and a lot of trauma I've seen. I've vocalized my testimony at my own church recently, and I had a lot of youth come to me, and they were kind of asking advice, but every process is different. And I think creatively, this would be a great opportunity to bring that to churches on a smaller scale so that they have that like ability to have that safe space like you guys were mentioning. So I'm just wondering if you could offer those services.
So great question. So actually we did work with one youth group at some point in our touring production. We have not done that since, but there is no reason to say no to that idea. So that's my answer to that.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you. And then we'll go right in front and then right in front. You guys can argue amongst yourselves and who gets the mic.
Thank you, it's wonderful. The poor woman whose 2 sons got hanged, and she
Rizpah.
She was there crying for so many days. I'm wondering what the women of Gaza will tell when they have an opportunity to tell their story as they watch their children dying of malnutrition and starvation. And as she was crying, I felt that she was crying for them.
We actually just mentioned her today. Yeah. It's all you. Kiki.
Okay, cool. I would like to just take a breath with y'all. What you guys did today, beyond divine. The world is grieving, and we all have different stories of loss, of violation, of feeling unseen and unheard. And what you guys did today, it broke sound barriers in our religion, in our spirituality. And like this beautiful woman here, I love that she played Mary Magdalene, by the way. I grew up Roman Catholic my entire life, grew up in the church, K through college. And I had to make some hard choices as a woman that took me away from the church because of shame. And I just want to thank you. I want to thank each one of you because in the Catholic Church, you don't always get taught all the stories. You know, you just get a certain amount and you just get a couple of passages right before the homily. And it took me a long time to understand that Jesus loved me for who I was, even the choices that I made. And it was the reason why God sent me here today. I got a text message at 8 o'clock this morning inviting me to this. And I have my own journey with, sharing with youth in the Christian church about how do they find themselves when their choices make them feel like they're outside the church. And I think I just really want to say you guys did a phenomenal job. Like when I say phenomenal job, you were so real. I really honestly, there were moments where I was like, I don't even think they're performing. Like this isn't even a performance. You are sharing stories of God's people. And one of the things that really touched me was the fact that you mentioned now that we're speaking about women's stories, we're truly starting to get the holistic side of God. And I 100% agree with that because there's no way you could have God and creation without woman. I'll say that again. There is no way you can have God and creation without women. And I know I've capitalized on this mic but I just wanted to share one reimagining of the story of Adam and Eve that God blessed me with during meditation about 2 months ago. And he said to me that if his role was to give us free will, to choose him, that means sometimes we're not going to. And that means he wants to love us when we return. And so Adam and Eve, they may have been cast out of the garden, but they got gifted with earth and life and love. And in this life, we're meant to love. We're meant to cry. We are going to lose. And that's what brings us closer. And so sometimes I like to think that Eve graduated us to be humans. So I share that with all of you. And
First off, I wanted to say as a man, thought I was going to be attacked because I'm a man, I'm black, and I love Jesus, so society hates me because of all those three. God had to soften my heart because I do see you. As a man, I see you. I grew up in Boston, and sometimes the men don't get it right in the church, so it was the women who were holding down the faith. I want to thank y'all for doing what you did. Y'all did an amazing job. And on the behalf of the real men of church, the church, I am so sorry for them hurting you. I'm so sorry for them hurting you. I have daughters, and I would kill for them. Literally, I love the Lord, but I will kill for my daughters. I see every single one of you, and every single one of you are special. Just allow God to manifest himself through you, to be seen. Thank y'all for this. This was dope.
Mic check. Okay. Hi. I had the pleasure of sitting beside you, and I turned over and I was like, did they share the meaning behind these red ribbons? And these red ribbons are just a theme or the visual theme that is ran throughout the whole entire play. So I'm curious about the meaning or the symbolism behind them.
She did. She whispered, like, have they talked about it? I was like, we don't tell people about it. But I said, but you can ask, and here we go. We're here, right? Yeah, so thank you for that. So the symbol of our show really is this red cord. One of the things that if you read really all the women's stories in the Bible, you see literally a theme of a scarlet cord being used again and again and again. We mention it, Rahab, which we used to tell her story, but Rahab uses the scarlet cord to hang outside of her window as a symbol that her family should be kept safe. In Tamar's story, the midwife ties the scarlet cord around the little baby's wrist when he's being birthed, and then that hand gets pulled back in. So there's literally an actual connection between all the women through a literal scarlet cord in the Bible. Also, the scarlet cord represents blood. It represents Jesus's blood. It represents menstrual blood, which connects women to Jesus. If we're thinking of Jesus's blood as being what had to be shed in order for us to be saved, we as women are connected immediately to Jesus through the power of our blood. We also have, the color red being used as, the proverbial fruit that Eve is eating, whatever that fruit was. We think of as an apple, a pomegranate, but red, we never say like, oh, it was an orange, right? It was something red. We always use that as a symbol. So red has also been used almost like a sin against the women. The women are bound by the sin. The women are silenced. They are tied up. That's why we tie Eve up at the beginning. So while we have been told as women, we have been in the wrong and we have been sinning because we have been living, Jesus's blood redeems this, and we then get connected to each other through the literally the cord on the stage, but through blood as a sign and a symbol. So that's why it gets used in as many stories as we can put in there. Did you have a further? I can't tell if your hand is, yeah. Okay, yeah, over here.
Hi, congratulations. You guys were incredible, and you should be so proud of yourselves. I think I can say for everyone here in the audience that we are proud of you, whether you know us personally or not. Shout out Emily, we love you. We're so proud of you. As far as an actor's standpoint comes from, how do y'all decompress after? I know that you've been doing this for the past week and Zoom. I know, it's a big question, but what are how do you decompress from telling these stories and living these lives for the 2 hours that you are?
I'm Sarah. Last night I drove home and listened to Animal Crossing music because it turns off my brain in a nice safe way. All jokes aside, I do just have to kind of, an energy cleanse. I guess that was what did it for me last night.
For starters, we go to sleep. But I also think that telling these stories is very cathartic, and being able to release on the stage is part of the decompressing from just everything that we're going through or holding in. So decompressing is part of telling the story as well.
I would say, one, there's, on the stage, there are no fake tears on the stage. There's no fake crying. All of this is real. We don't really push out here. You kind of just feel it and go with it. Two, I think we used to probably take time to ourselves when we were back and still on Zoom, back when we were doing all the meetings and getting each other's stories, and we would just step back. I think now that we are all here together and we are, like, half of us are, like, living together, and then, we're all in, like, pairs and stuff, so I think we're also taking, I can't find a word right now, we're using, we are using each other right now at the moment. I think even at the end here, we're all just, I run out of words to say. I'm gonna sit down here, I'm an actor, I have my lines, I'm gonna sit, thank you.
I feel like a bit of all of these things I do, but I feel like mainly what I do when I'm connected to this show the most, I feel is that I just want to talk to the woman back home in India for me. And I actually tell them almost every night, even if it's not on a call, I voicemail them or something, telling them that I thought of you, I saw you, or I wish I hugged you that one day that I didn't do it. And on other days, I'm just actually another woman in the audience said this thing, and that reminded me of you. So I feel like this show gives me a lot of room to just in a way of decompressing, but also I miss y'all so much more than I think I do, and this play reminds me that I wouldn't be anything without any of these women and all the mothers across the world. Thank you.
So, two comments. One is I appreciated the piece, while these are stories rooted in the women in the Bible, I appreciated the contemporary lens and the acknowledgement of women supporting and seeing other women. And it just made me think about how you can be on the street and you can be walking down the street and another woman will say, okay, yellow, okay, orange, right? Just acknowledging you. And so I saw that and I just appreciated just that we don't have to just think about the historical, but the contemporary. How do we see and affirm one another? And then the second thing was I saw this years ago here, and I still have in my journal at home the list of the stories. And so I noticed it wasn't in this program, and I thought, wait, I have the old list, right? But I wanted to go home and then read those stories. And even here tonight, I was flipping through my phone, trying to follow along. But, someone might come to this and not think I need to be a note taker. So having that list, at least for me, was really helpful years ago. And like I said, it's tattered, it's in my journal now, because it was something I wanted to go back and look at those stories again.
Thank you. You are not the first person who has said that. And I will just be really real with you. The programs were printed before we really even got together. And we were still figuring out what was going and where it was going. So now that I think it's pretty set, believe it or not, I think this is pretty set, okay? We literally changed it even today. So I will actually have a printout like an insert that goes in the program when we're in Scotland. I just want to say, we rewrote the musical, so those people who know this, we rewrote it to where it was like, if you know the Disney song, you can catch on to the Disney song, right? But it wasn't this direct connection. So I actually hired a composer to write this as a parody, and I did not get her name in there. So we forgot to put that, but Olivia Barron, and I'm just gonna give her a shout out. So we're gonna also make sure that like the music is included on that insert. And we're gonna put it on the website as well. Another suggestion for the website was to make sure there's a list of resources of books that you can read that are also kind of digging into certain women's lives from the Bible. So thank you. And I appreciate that was helpful, so it just reinforces that it's necessary. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, I thought that all you women on stage did beautiful. And tonight I was invited here by Isabella. I have to say she's been one of my favorite friends from my entire life because I've always just kind of struggled with other friends or other places with religion, and I feel like I'm never able to have like an open conversation on religion and kind of question everything that I've been through and my thoughts on God. But with Isabella, it's always been an open conversation, and I always feel closer to God when I'm with her. And I really appreciate that she invited me to the show, and I think it was really needed because it allows like an open stage for people to bring different ideas together on religion and these stories to be told. And I'm very happy that I came here tonight. So thank you guys.
Good job, Isabella.
Hello, everyone. You were awesome. I'm so glad I was able to make it. But this is not about me. It's about all of you. I have a couple of just acting questions and program questions. I agree with the woman about having a reference, because in the end, halfway through, I actually took my phone out and started writing down the verses, so that I could go find them. And I'm thinking about, for you all being in a space where people are even less familiar with Bible stories than Catholics. I'm Catholic, I know. I do not know Bible stories, but Scotland might be even fewer people know their Bible stories, so I think that would be great. This is really for Tara. What is the reason why I think it's the story of Rizbah, and there's like 5 or 6 paintings, or that are projected. Is there a reason why we don't know what those are? Or like who's the artist? Who's the artist? What time period? Is this 15th century? Like it was interesting to me looking at them going, oh, I wonder if I can find that image again.
You're talking about the actual Rizbah images?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. So it was interesting. I'm jumping back 10 years ago now when I found those. Because her story was not known by anyone when we did this, I thought, well, how well, is it just us? Is her story well known? And of course, I'm always turning to art to see if there have been, examples of the story, portrayed that way. And every one of them that you see is all I could find. So in some ways, it's a lot, and other ways I'm like, wow, that's it. So that also makes me think like I could put that in an insert, right? Put that in the program if that's something people are interested in. But what I loved was how many different mediums and different types of images, like the one of the girl holding the stick, which should be timed, which it certainly was when she says, I have a stick to beat them away. And then there's one, she just looks so strong, like fighting the birds. And then, so I guess the answer is I could not tell you in this moment who those artists are, but I would easily be able to find them again because I have the collection of all of the images in a file.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. And then one last thing. I thought at the very end, when you're all talking about God and the Holy Spirit, and this may be a personal choice, but it would be lovely at some point as you are talking about God that it is not just God the Father. Because it was God the Father, he, and like, it could be she. If we're talking about the feminine, it could be she. So if you're ever so moved to call God by her feminine, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Thanks, Ida.
Is this on? Phenomenal. I don't even have the words. It was beautiful. As people were telling their stories, it gets a little personal even for you. You see yourself in the story. But the mother is the one that got that cry. That cry. Oh, God. Oscar. But that's when I knew you weren't, it wasn't really acting. It was really coming from deep inside. And as a mother, it affected me very deeply because I have 2 sons. And I've lost a nephew who is like a son. But as she continued to cry, the pain, the agony, then the relief and the resolve, it was like that cry was for every single story. Every single story was up there. That's what it felt like. It was the cry that we have now for what's happening in the world, for our present administration, for the pain in the church. That cry. She said she took a list of stories. That should not come out ever. That should not come out ever. And there is no intermission on this. I'm sorry. I totally disagree with that. No intermission. No intermission. No intermission.
Thank you. And I will say Rizba has always been in our play. Yeah. Are we going here?
Hi, everyone. I wanted to say thank you so much all for putting on such a wonderful show. It really meant a lot to see so many like authentic stories. I do appreciate the explanation at the end that like all of the stories were from someone on the stage, but maybe not told by that person. So it still feels very real to know that those stories came from you guys. So thank you so much for sharing them. I was a Salve student and I never got to see you guys perform. I was actually working in the basement of the chapel while you guys were performing, so I never really got the chance. And Tara, hearing that story that the Bishop of Rhode Island banned you guys, it makes me so angry, but also like I'm not surprised at all because I feel like especially in Catholic culture, there's this very status quo. Like that, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, where like things have to be this one certain way and it has to, like, you know, there isn't really a lot of room for, variation or interpretation or like even opening up to different views because it needs to be kind of like Vatican approved. So I think it's so beautiful that Salve is a space, for those of you who aren't familiar with Salve, it's very much a space where that exploration is allowed, but it's still really sad that the institutional church isn't. So I'm really glad that you guys are sharing your stories, and I know that that's a really powerful thing. I mean, recently there was something that I did where I kind of shared part of my faith story in more of a public way than I really had before, and genuinely it was like one of the proudest moments of my life. So yeah, it just makes me really happy and proud of you guys to see you doing that and have other people experience that. And so many different like things in the play touched me in different ways and had me like experiencing different emotions and just, you know, having my own experience and thinking like, oh, this reminds me of this time in my life, or, you know, like just feeling deep grief and sadness and being like, oh, I don't like to share that, and I don't like to, you know, actually grieve it out with people. So yeah, just thank you so much for putting on a great show, and keep on doing the great work.
Thank you. Just to be clear, Salve was very supportive of the show. We had priests at every talkback.
The priests at Salve are great.
They were very supportive. There were Catholic people at the church saying this should be church. So it was, yes. So it was just one man. We'll make this our last question, and then yep. It's you.
That was amazing. So glad I got to see it. I grew up in the church and very deeply religious, and since then I've been super disconnected from the church because of my queerness, and I really did feel seen from this, and that was amazing, so thank you for that. And I also have a question. I'm curious why you chose to use the word happy. I thought that was really cool, and I was curious about why you chose that.
Yeah, so thank you. And first of all, thank you for naming that you feel seen. You are seen. God sees you, and we see you. So part of that scene is all about feeling like if I'm in a church, I cannot come out. I can't even name my identity in certain spaces. So coding your identity became safety for people, and is in many churches still. I'm from Oklahoma, and when we took this play to Oklahoma, I will tell you, in 2 different venues, somebody came up at the end and said, hey, I'm happy. So even privately, they didn't want to say what their identity was. So there are still churches, as we know, that, as the story goes, that are not accepting. And so for her own safety, she codes herself to protect herself. We chose the word happy because gay, historically, means happy. And in the theater world, believe it or not, there are so many songs from the Golden Age that have the word gay in it that composers have now changed because of the new connotation of the word. But I'm like, no, gay is happy. Like, why can't we embrace that there's actually a beautiful connotation to that word, and it's comfort and it's joy, and it's about feeling fully you. So that's why we chose that word, and that's why the scene is played that way. So I hope that gets to your question. Thank you so much for sharing that in this space. Okay. So we're going to transition to just let you chat with us individually if you're wanting to do so. We leave tomorrow to go to Edinburgh. I'm gonna say first, if you could just keep us in your prayers. Our first, the first show is next week. We really do want people to be there, but we want the right people to be there. And as we've said, we want to make sure that people who need to see us find us. And there are over 3,700 productions this year at the Fringe. So we have to somehow cut through that noise and get people to find us. And again, like, yes, of course, the egotistical theater part of me is like, we want a big house, right? We want a lot of people, but I really want the people who need to see it to be able to find us. So we'll be doing the work to make that happen, but if you can add us to your prayers, that would be greatly appreciated. I will also say, every time we bring this show into a space, there are sometimes I feel almost irresponsible because we do bring so much up for our audiences and then we just leave. And many times we have had requests for like, what do we do next? How do you just drop this in our lap and then walk away? How do you run a story circle? How do we help people heal now that you've brought this up? So in March, out in the lobby, she's out there. Letizia Gambrell-Boone is out there. I'm partnering with her to run a retreat around healing and coming back home to yourself, which will launch with the show and follow with a 5-day retreat. If you're interested in that, there's in your program, at the back of the program is a advertisement about it, but talk to Letizia if that means anything to you. If you're a youth leader and you're also trying to figure out how do I do this and bring it back to where I am, that's what that retreat is also going to be about. So that is another yes we're naming for this show. And then finally, we are leaving tomorrow, and we have been fundraising for a year, and we're still in need of some support. If you are here and you're able and you're feeling led, we do have QR codes kind of all over. Buy a t-shirt, anything you can to support in that way. We greatly appreciate it. And again, I'm not kidding. If that is not in your ability, prayer means so much. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for listening, and have a good night.